Welcome, Georgina, to Rogers' That's My Story. Today we have a most interesting woman, Jacinta Yang, who is what I consider an unstoppable force. Welcome, Jacinta.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
It's so wonderful to have you here. A lot of people in the community will know you, but I hope that after today's session they'll get to know you a little bit better. Could you tell us a little bit about what your background is? Where were you born?
I'm Chinese heritage.
Yes.
Born in Bangladesh.
Bangladesh.
Yes. And primary part of my life was in Pakistan. Bangladesh used to be East Pakistan.
Right.
Then we moved to, during the Civil War, we moved to West Pakistan.
Yes.
And then I moved to Canada when I was 19.
Wow. So you've lived in a lot of different places.
Yes.
And in Canada, you didn't come straight to Georgina, did you?
No, I didn't. Actually, my travel was from Bangladesh, Pakistan, to Hong Kong, LA.
Wow.
And here, and then lived in New York and back in Canada in '85.
My goodness, what a globetrotter you are. So you're the international phenomenon. So you've always been a go-getter, even as a young child.
Yes.
You were telling me a little bit about how you solved a problem for your family when you were 8. They didn't know what to do. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, when we initially moved to Pakistan, which is in Karachi.
Yes.
And I was 8, and we used to get lost, finding our way back home.
I'm
during
sure
the
it's
daytime.
big. Yes.
Because we were from a very small town in Khulna.
Yes.
And one day we went shopping. One of my sisters, she's 2 years older than me, were in the market, and it's further away from our home.
Yes.
It's not a walking distance. So my sister was getting worried because it's starting to get dark. Let's go home, otherwise we won't be able to find home. And my parents didn't know how to console her. So I just said to her, not to worry. Even if our parents didn't know where to find the house, we just have to call a cab and give them the address, and we'll be able to get home.
You were always the problem solver, even as an 8-year-old. I'm sure your parents appreciated your ingenuity, and you got home safely.
Yes. I recall how my father observed my, the way I was consoling my sister.
Yes.
And he mentioned something like that to my mom, that I was able to convince her.
You've always cared for other people,
yes,
and that's how I know you, as someone who's very giving in our community, and a lot of people in the community are familiar as well. Tell us a little bit about your professional background. What is your title?
Currently, or
you keep adding to it, do you? But
yes,
you're certified.
I'm certified as a Reiki, reflexology, and crystal healer.
Yes.
However, I'm also a floral designer for 39 years.
Wow.
But I majored in business and accounting. That was my mother's choice.
That was your mother's choice, yes.
So when I came to Canada, I guess in Pakistan there was not many choices in education.
Right.
So the practical choice was doing business and accounting.
Right.
And then when I came to Canada, the choices was just tremendous.
So tell us, some of our viewers might not be familiar with reflexology and Reiki. So tell us a little bit about reflexology.
Reflexology is working on the reflex points in our head, hands, and feet.
Yes.
That actually help to regulate your blood pressure. It also helps with pain relief, and also to help relax you.
Is it similar to points like acupuncture?
Something similar,
yeah.
But with acupuncture you use needle, but with reflexology you're massaging those points.
Oh, it's massaging, but the specific point for each thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
So personally, I think I like reflexology because it helps with your internal organs rather than the muscles. So,
right.
Overall health.
Good. Good. So, and what's Reiki?
Reiki is energy healing.
Yep.
Yes, it's energy healing. It's basically as Reiki practitioner. I'm a channel. So we channel the energy from the universe. Reiki is also called the energy of love. And I channel energy to the person. And it's an intelligent energy because it actually goes to where you need it most first, as opposed to if you come to me and say, Jacinta, I have a headache, can I get a Reiki? But let's say you have other ailments that's more of a priority, it will actually help that first.
Really? And then the secondary for the other. Now, there's some people in the community that you've already reached out to and helped. Could you tell us some experiences you've had that have been very, well, first of all, before I forget, I know you've had physical ailments yourself.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about that.
I guess my health journey started since I was 6 years old.
Yes.
I had typhoid.
Oh, wow.
I survived it, and then of course malaria, and living in Bangladesh and Pakistan.
Yes.
So my immune system was very low, and also I had multiple health issues. And initially, when I used to go to the doctor, they used to say it's all in my mind.
Oh, it's all
It's
psychological.
psychosomatic. So they wouldn't take all my symptoms seriously. And eventually, I think it took 10 years before I was diagnosed with stage 4 endometriosis.
Wow.
And by that time, all my internal organs were, you could say,
Affected.
ravaged.
Yeah.
So then I started treatment. I had surgeries. I had 8 surgeries. Then nothing was helping, so I sought alternative therapy. That's how I found Reiki and reflexology. And it started to help me, and I thought, maybe this is something I need to do to help other people.
Right. So you found someone to help you, and then you decided you would study.
Yeah, I would study and do it because, when you're sick and you cannot work, you cannot earn.
Right.
When you cannot earn, and these are not covered, so you cannot really afford to pay, if they're charging by the time.
Right.
Like half an hour session.
Right.
But when I started it, when I decided to do it, I said I'll do it without actually having the time constraint.
Right.
I'll give a session so a person can feel better.
Right.
Whether it takes half an hour, 40 minutes, an hour and a half. So that was my
That's
decision.
the basis. But so your business didn't plug into that. Your business training would be counter to that, right?
Yeah, but that's okay because I have my floral designing skills that supported what I wanted to do to help other people.
Wonderful.
But over the years, my practice in the quest to help people with their chronic pain, I think through the lockdown there was a big shift because I was able to help people with the emotional.
Right.
And that
The
brought
pandemic has
Yes.
been a huge.
Yes. So that brought a change, a shift, and involved into me helping people with their mental well-being.
Right.
Which ultimately leads to your physical
Right.
wellness.
So what could you do, say, with someone who was emotionally distraught and was it mostly because of isolation? What do you think?
No, there's a lot of factors. It's not only the pandemic.
Yes.
Because in life, we all go through challenges.
Yes.
We all go through traumas, right? And when you're working, you kind of shift it aside. But I guess during the pandemic, everything comes to the surface.
Right. They had time to actually think about it.
Yeah, because you don't have time for distraction
Right.
anymore.
Right.
So basically, I help them dive deep what is affecting them.
And how do you do that?
Actually, Reiki is a very powerful healing modality. What it does, it actually helps you to bring out what is bothering you. As they talk through it, I help them, guide them to how to eliminate it or let it go. So
you ask questions and then you hope that they will.
Or they share their stories.
Right.
Sometimes I do ask questions, but I usually let them share. Because it's also respecting their privacy,
Right.
what they want to share.
Right.
So I don't really prod.
Right. But you
But they feel
somehow,
comfortable.
yeah, as long as they feel, they must have to have empathy, and you have that for sure.
Yes.
So they probably feel comfortable with
Yes,
you.
they feel comfortable, they feel the trust, and they know that I can help. They feel I can help them.
That's
so
good.
they're willing to
Yeah, to tell you,
share.
yes.
Yeah.
And then what are some of the things that you can do once they've shared to help them feel better and to be rid of those anxieties?
Well, one of the main thing, I help them to understand what is causing the anxiety.
Right.
And help them to understand whether is there any basis for those.
Whether it's realistic, you mean?
Yeah, no. Like, yes, in some ways you can say whether it is realistic or whether they think they imagined it or it. You know, sometimes you think somebody said something to you.
Right.
And you think they hurt you.
Yes.
But they didn't really intend to. Sometimes when you're in a dark place, whatever you hear.
They misinterpret it.
Exactly.
Or we're looking for the negative and find it.
Yes. So a lot of time I help them to actually speak up.
Right.
And inquire if somebody said something to hurt you. Ask them.
To get to the source of
Yes,
why.
Why? What
Yes.
is it? Did I hear wrong? Or
Yes,
is
yes.
this what it is?
Well, that sounds good.
To more have clarity.
Yes, lack of communication is a
Yes.
huge problem, isn't it? Or
Yes.
not clear communication.
Yes, that's why I wrote my third book, Let Your Heart Speak, Truth Lies Within. So it is through all these...
So you've written several books. I have two of them here. Which is the first one?
Take Charge.
Take Charge. Well, that sounds like you from when you were 8 years old. So this is the book, Take
Yes,
Charge.
yes.
And what is it about?
It's my life story.
Your life story.
My life
Okay.
story about how I overcame my own fears, challenges,
Good.
and how I just went...
Have proceeded.
Yes.
And then my spiritual journey. What does the spiritual journey include? Were you raised in a particular faith?
Yes, I'm Catholic
Yes.
by faith, but I believe in spirituality a little different, not
Not in the
constricted
regular way.
in
Yes.
the religious,
Yes.
the religious way. But for me, spirituality means being loving, being kind, being accepting.
Okay. Well, thank you. So far, this is very fascinating. We're going to take a little break, and then when we come back, we'll hear more about Jacinta's plans for the future and what she's been doing in the community to really help in a very concrete way. Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome back. We're here with Jacinta Yang, the unstoppable force, who has landed in Georgina after having been born in the Far East and traveled around the world. But we're so blessed to have her here and doing so much good. So your interest in Reiki, I'm mispronouncing it, sorry,
No.
and reflexology has led you to become a practitioner, and you do a lot of good. I know you help out with Hospice Georgina. Tell us how you got involved with that, Jacinta.
Oh, actually, I used to come to Keswick to do some healing session prior to moving here.
Yes?
And Mary Margaret was one of the client I saw, but because the appointment was booked, so she came to Toronto.
Okay.
And so I knew Mary Margaret. And when I was doing a workshop through the grant, Quick Action Grant.
Yes.
And being new in Georgina, I didn't know too many people, and I need references of local residents.
Right.
So I reached out to Mary Margaret to be one
So
of my
Mary
references.
Margaret Thorburn is the
Yes.
chair of Hospice Georgina.
Yes, I
She's
didn't know
on the
nothing
board of
about
directors.
hospice.
Yes, but that's how you got introduced to it.
Yes, so I requested Mary Margaret to be my reference, and then she asked me to meet her at the hospice, and I don't know nothing about hospice at all.
Right.
So I went there, and we talked a little bit. So I got really curious about hospice. So when I did sessions with Mary Margaret, I asked a lot of questions about
Good.
hospice. What do they do? What it's about? And I guess it was something that I felt like I wanted to do to help.
It's a natural combination because you care about people, and the theme for Hospice Georgina is sharing the caring. We offer non-medical things. I'm on the board with Hospice Georgina, and it's a huge undertaking because it's strictly by donations that we give free services to any client. So anyone in Georgina who needs help, either after or during a prolonged illness, we're there to give assistance with mourning if it's after someone's death. But there are all kinds of wonderful sessions for people to help them go through the various challenges they have. So what type of thing you I guess we'd have some of the clients who are currently under treatment that need your help?
Both, actually.
Yes?
Some of them that are actually, sad to say, I recently lost
Yes,
one.
lost someone, yes.
Yeah. But a lot of the times that I do sessions with the people that are just looking for some alternative therapy.
Right.
But when I found out about hospice and I know how much it can help
Yes.
the clients, so I start to volunteer.
Good for you.
And while I was volunteering, then of course a lot of questions to Mary Margaret.
Yes.
And there's just the thought at how much funds are needed to help. So I just went on myself and decided to help fundraise. It was not asked of me.
Good for you.
And I reached
There's
out.
the unstoppable. No one has, you're the initiator rather than the follower. Excellent,
Yes.
excellent. Well, I know all of the services are done, and we have very few paid staff, mostly volunteers who help out in any way possible. And it could be picking up a client, taking them to the doctors. It could be bringing them to a program at hospice. There's an art therapy where I have gone to those. You don't have to be artistic. It's just a way of spending a few hours with other people, socializing, relaxing, and doing some craft or other. But there are all kinds of ways.
Yeah.
But right now, we do not have a hospice with beds
Yes.
in Georgina, and that's our next goal because
Yes.
ours is a day hospice.
Yes.
But we're looking to get land and build
Yes.
so that we have beds for our people don't have to go out of Georgina to get the care they need.
I think that's what caught my attention.
Yes.
When Mary Margaret told me about the Catch the Ace, what
Right.
it was for, and I did some calculation in my head, and I was at a chamber meeting, and I said,
Yeah.
how many population do we have in Georgina?
Right.
And I was thinking, there's no way we can raise enough funds within our town.
That's right.
So I did mention that we need to reach out outside of our town. But initially I was told that, every town has their own problem, and they can't do anything. And I thought to myself, who says that?
Not
I'm
you. Not you.
I'm going to reach out to everyone I know, and I have people all over the place.
Yes, you've got followers around the world, right?
So I reached out to my clients overseas, reached out to my clients, nationally,
Yes.
internationally, and they were all willing to. And I also reached out to my client/friend outside of Georgina.
Yes.
And the first person, I've known him for over 20 years, 25 years, and I said, I just learned about Hospice Georgina and blah, 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 and I want to try and help raise some money for them. I said, do you think I can approach you like this, right? And he said, sure, Jacinta, you've never asked for any help for yourself. For you to ask for somebody else, it must mean a lot, so I will. So I remember Lori said if somebody donated $500, their name would go. So I was hoping at least $500, right? So they can have the name. So I said, do you mind if I ask what amount you're thinking of donating? And he told me $5,000. I just nearly fell off the floor, but I had to compose myself and not show this excitement. And like, oh, that's so nice, you know. But then I had to hold it to myself because until the check is in my hand.
And it's cashed.
So I had to keep it for a few months until I got my check, right?
That's
and
wonderful.
Even then, I couldn't compose myself. I wanted to present at the luncheon.
Yes.
And then so I grabbed Anthony from Ruth. I just said, I got to share this news with somebody.
That's so exciting.
So
well, what we need is more
of
unstoppable
those.
people like you to approach people, because unless you ask, you don't know.
Yeah, I ask at any opportunity I get.
Well, and it shows the great respect that people have for you, that he trusts that if you think it's worthwhile, and it's not been for yourself, it's always been for other people. So that's a real tribute to you as well,
Thank
of course.
you.
That's wonderful. Yeah, so we have to have you approaching more people.
I am. I haven't stopped. In fact, I've been to Canadian special event. I watched, so I'm reaching out. I'm my brain hasn't stopped thinking of who else I can reach out to help us.
Well, certainly we need a good lump sum, and then some of the money will come from the government. But until you have the seed money to start, that they know that you have.
I'm actually even tempted to write them.
Well, why not? I think that would not go amiss. They might listen to you rather than other people. So you mentioned earlier you've written a third book, and what's its title?
Let Your Heart Speak. Truth Lies Within.
Okay.
As you were talking about the communication, a lot of the things get lost in communication.
Yes.
So if we can speak honestly from our heart what we truly mean, it can help many misunderstandings. And at the same time, I spoke what was in my heart. So I did actually put in my book about having people to join me in fundraising for hospice.
That's great. So it's part of that book then, so that people will know that we're actually here.
Yes.
We're here,
and
we're not going to stop.
Yes.
We're just going to keep going. That's fabulous.
And and then you still need to maintain it, right?
Oh, absolutely.
To run it.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's going to be a huge undertaking, but you're right. It's going to be ongoing because even after the capital funds are the difficult hurdle, but the day-to-day running of it is going to be very expensive as well.
And I have to be more creative.
Yes, even more creative. Well, you're the creative one, so we can depend on you for that. That's wonderful. So if any of our viewers are not aware of this, I hope that you would help out with Hospice Georgina, and thank you for raising that issue, Jacinta, because it's something I guess when we were at, Mary Margaret did a presentation to the town.
Yes, I was there.
Were you there?
Yes.
And she gave the statistics, and we're one of the only regions north of Toronto that does, and we have the population, but we do not have any beds.
Yes.
And Simcoe region does, and just north of Toronto. We're north, but not far enough north, it seems, for the provincial government to pay any attention to us.
Maybe we need to go.
Maybe we have to
We
go.
need to go to Ottawa.
Well, both. We need the province and the federal government helping us out. But hospice is such good work. So when somebody from hospice wants to have some assistance from you, how do they go about making an appointment with you?
Actually, I do sessions at hospice.
Yes.
I volunteered there.
You go right to, and we're at the link.
Yes.
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 So you go there, and they can book through Hospice Georgina.
Yes.
So, and if somebody else in the community wants to reach you, do you have a web page?
Yes, I do.
Yes. Okay.
I have my own healing studio.
Okay. And where are your books sold?
My books are sold on Amazon and Balboa Press.
On Amazon.
And myself.
And you sell them directly then to people?
Yes, I do.
Okay, excellent. Okay, that's wonderful.
And actually, I have some copies at the hospice as a fundraiser for hospice too.
Oh, aren't you
so
great?
a portion of it will go to hospice.
So if you want to go to Hospice Georgina, you can pick up the books, and some of the money will go to That's wonderful.
Yes,
Very
yes.
generous of you.
And
Thank
actually,
you.
not only at hospice, wherever I sell my books myself,
Yes.
I will be putting a portion going to hospice.
Excellent. Oh, well, we need to clone you. That was what we need. We need many more Jacintas to be out there helping everybody along. So it's really wonderful to have you in our community.
Thank you,
Are you
thank you.
happy in Georgina?
Of course I am. If I wasn't, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing.
Yes, that's great. That's
I mean,
great.
everybody here is so loving, kind.
We have a pretty good community for
Yes.
volunteers, I must
Yes,
admit.
yes.
And people like you make it even nicer for us to be
Thank
here.
you.
So we really appreciate all that you're doing and all that you will continue to do. And we hope to see you back here again. And maybe by then we'll have another big donor. That would be great,
I
too.
hope so.
That's
I am
good.
working on it.
Okay.
I haven't stopped working on
Okay,
it.
thank you. The unstoppable Jacinta. Thank you very much, Jacinta. We
Thank you.
enjoyed having you here today.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Okay.
Okay.